Thank you, everyone, for joining us today for the London Health Sciences Centre November 2025 Community Update Meeting. So before we begin, I'd like to turn things over to Dr. Adam Ducalo, LHSC's Integrated Vice President of Medical and Academic Affairs, to deliver today's land acknowledgement.
Thanks so much. Thanks, David, for handing it over, and good afternoon to all of you for joining. Thank you for joining us and spending some time with us this afternoon. Victoria University and Children's Hospitals are situated on the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Lenape, and Chinookan nations, on lands connected by the London Township and Sombre Treaties of 1796 and the Dish with One Spoon Covenant Wampum. We are here in peace and walk with respect on this part of Turtle Island. I am by no means an expert in land acknowledgements, but I've spent a small amount of time speaking with local Indigenous leaders, as well as patients I have had the privilege of caring for in our emergency departments at LHSC and the St. Joseph's Urgent Care Center. I've also listened to other settlers like me give land acknowledgements in a variety of ways. The most impactful land acknowledgements I have heard are those that are not only state the acknowledgement, but why it is important to them. I'm very fortunate to be a doctor and a leader in a healthcare system that serves 3 surrounding First Nations communities: Oneida, Munsee, Delaware, and Chippewa, the Thames. Unfortunately, however, when I reflect on my observations as a frontline doctor over the past 20 plus years, Indigenous people often do not have the same access to healthcare as non-Indigenous people. Indigenous people are still not often included in the decision-making that impacts them. While historically, our hospitals not always put Indigenous patients in their traditions and healing first, we are taking actionable steps to rectify this. And you'll hear about how we are doing that during one of our presentations later today by Chantal Antone. On a personal note, I commit to learn and unlearn as we move, albeit too slowly, towards reconciliation and safe, healing cultural care. Thank you. Back to you, David.
Thanks, Adam. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, welcome to our community update meetings. As you might know, our community update meetings serve as a platform to keep you informed, the community, about what's happening within our hospital. We share updates on new initiatives and outline the steps we're taking to deliver on our promise of excellent care, teaching, and research here at LHSC. So these meetings are live streamed through YouTube, and a recording is also made available afterwards. And our meetings also replay regularly on Rogers TV London. So it's great to be here today connecting with all of you. Again, these meetings are an important opportunity for us to connect and to share what's happening. And each month we highlight examples of how our staff, leaders, learners, volunteers, and patient partners are improving care, advancing safety, and supporting one another. So these meetings are a great space for transparency, conversation, and give you the chance to see progress, hear about the achievements, and understand the challenges and opportunities ahead. You're also going to notice our Did You Know segment continues to grow. It's designed to share interesting insights about LHSC, from innovative programs to unique stories, helping everyone learn a little bit more about the people and processes behind the care we provide here at LHSC. So we're really grateful for your engagement, your time that you take in joining these meetings. So whether you're tuning in live or catching the replay, it also strengthens the connection between LHSC and the community we serve, which is truly at the heart of everything we do. So, and to start today, I want to recognize the contributions of Team LHSC and people who show up every day to care for our community. There was a lot to celebrate in October, including some outstanding achievements that I'm going to highlight a little bit closer right now. So we have every year, one of the items we do is we take an opportunity to recognize the people across LHSC who make safety a top priority. We recognize our champions of patient safety. So it's not just about following processes or meeting standards. It's about their daily actions, the extra care, the teamwork that keep our patients and each other safe. So this year we received a record 70 nominations for our annual Patient Safety Awards, highest number ever. That says a lot about the strength of our safety culture and how deeply it is valued and embedded across LHSC. Individuals, teams, leaders, and patient partners who were nominated reflect what we mean when we talked about shared accountability. They're finding solutions, raising concerns, and helping shape systems of care every day. So we celebrated their accomplishments at a special ceremony on October 31st, and it was a great reminder that safety is everyone's responsibility. The other is the Patient Safety Award recipients. This year's awards celebrate a truly remarkable group of individuals, leaders, and teams, and each recipient has made a meaningful contribution to patient safety. Again, these include clinical teams who introduced evidence-informed practices, who reduced risks, who developed innovative approaches, and patients came from to support patients with diverse backgrounds, and patient partners who helped improve communication and accessibility. So congratulations to all the nominees and all the award recipients. Another thing we celebrated in October was LHSC's Children's Hospital and Women's Care. The measles response team was honored by the Ontario Medical Association for getting the team award, and for really good reason, clearly. When measles cases began appearing in our region, the team mobilized almost overnight. They coordinated across multiple departments, managed more than 150 suspected or confirmed cases, and did so while protecting some of our most vulnerable patients. Their leadership, quick action, decision-making, and consistent teamwork ensured no hospital-acquired transmission occurred, which is truly an incredible accomplishment by the team. So this recognition by the Ontario Medical Association is not just one moment in time. It reflects how LHSC responds under pressure and how people step up when the chips are down. So thank you, team members. Also in October, LHSC's Clinical Research Library was recognized by the Medical Library Association for its award for its leadership in advancing research and evidence-based care. So folks may not know this, but we have a clinical research library at LHSC with clinical librarians who work closely with teams across the organization to refine research questions, design studies, apply findings to the real-world care. Their expertise ensures that research is rigorous, relevant, and directly supports innovation. So the Clinical Research Library team has completed more than 670 research projects, helping clinicians, researchers, and leaders access the evidence they need to improve patient care, safety, and decision-making. So this award highlights the importance of their collaboration, knowledge, and dedication in driving outcomes. I also want to take a moment to recognize the incredible generosity of our staff, something we see across LHSC every day. So a great example comes from our adult eating disorder service, which recently wrapped up its annual food drive, and this year collected more than 400 pounds of food to support patients experiencing food insecurity. So it's a small but powerful example of how our people go above and beyond. Also want to highlight, as we head into the holiday season, we're once again running LHSC's Holiday Food and Winter Clothing Drive. So this year, this drive runs from November 17th, started a couple days ago, to December 15th, with the collection bins at Victoria University and Children's Hospital for donations of non-perishable food, diapers, hand warmers, and winter clothing. We're also proud to be partnering with London Business Cares this year, joining more than 300 other local organizations in support of the London Food Bank and related community programs. Last year, our staff collected nearly 1,000 pounds of food and hundreds of winter clothing items. It's an incredible showing of generosity and makes a real impact. I'm confident they're going to accomplish just as much, if not more, this year. So now, as we move in the presentations, I'm going to hand things over to Deborah Wiseman, who's our Vice President of Medicine, Emergency Services, Critical Care, and Clinical Neurological Sciences, and our Corporate Nursing Executive, as well as Dr. Christy McDonald, who is our Interim Vice Chair of LHSC's Medical Advisory Committee and Department Head of Emergency Medicine at LHSC.
Thanks so much, David. What a opportunity to highlight the awards and the initiatives that Team LHSC works so hard on. Today, I come to you not just in my role of responsibility at LHSC, but also as a hockey mom, and want to introduce the topic of urgent care and opportunities for support at the hockey rink. Last March, the Elgin Middlesex Canucks under 15 hockey team, they were down by 1 goal, just seconds left on the clock. I can feel my blood pressure rising already. But as the puck dropped, Jennifer Thorpe noticed her son Tyler skating rapidly to the bench and instinctively knew something was wrong. In the dressing room, she saw coaches and team members gathered around Tyler, unfortunately with his hand held in a blood-soaked towel with a life-threatening injury, the skate blade having cut an artery, damaged a tendon, and injured one of his nerves. Fortunately, there was a physician on the opposing team that recognized the severity and acted immediately, controlling the bleeding until the paramedics arrived. Tyler underwent 2 surgeries at our children's hospital and is now recovering, thankfully. And despite missing the playoffs, he showed up at the sidelines to cheer his teammates on, for sure. But for his mother, that terrifying experience became a catalyst for advocacy, promoting bleeding control training and encouraging protective gear in sports. Tyler's injury underscores how quickly the life-threatening bleeding can happen, and whether during a sports event or from other accidents, that controlling bleeding immediately can turn a near-fatal injury into a high chance of survival. The Stop the Bleed program equips people in our communities and beyond with practical skills to manage severe bleeding. The participants of this training learn hands-on techniques such as tourniquet application, direct pressure, and wound packing. Since Tyler's injury, his hockey team and coaches, trainers, and others have taken part in the program. LHSC is hoping that we can expand it further. Hockey is especially high risk because of the skate blades that can strike very vulnerable areas, and early action can save lives. This training ensures that anyone present, coaches, parents, teammates, can responsibly and confidently within seconds help and support. Those seconds matter. The program supports anybody in the community. Any sports team can benefit from learning these life-saving skills. And since Tyler's hockey injury last year, we've seen local teams take part and recognize just how important these skills are. By participating in Stop the Bleed, you're not only protecting yourself, you're empowering your whole community. You never know when the training you receive could save a life. And the program gives you the confidence to act decisively in an emergency. So if you, your organization, your business, your team, your community group are interested in registering, you can find the booking information on our website. Thanks for considering. Switching gears, but also equally important to highlight this month, November is Fall Prevention Month, and certainly a time to focus on keeping ourselves and others safe in hospital. Patients in hospital are at increased risk for falls due to factors like illness, medications, side effects, and limited mobility. At the hospital, we assess our patients, we train our staff, we use supportive opportunities in our environmental safety measures to reduce those falls. But you too can take practical steps to reduce your risk. When you're planning to come to the hospital or when you're at the hospital, make sure you're wearing safe non-slip footwear. So bring non-slip socks, slippers, or shoes that stay on your feet. Make sure you're calling for help. Always use that call bell to request help before getting out of bed, or especially when you're going to the washroom. Make sure you're getting up slowly. Sit on the side of bed for a minute before you're standing up to ensure you're feeling steady. Make sure you're asking your healthcare team what supports or strategies might help prevent future falls, and we're all here to guide you. Keep your room clean, so ensuring that it's free of clutter, well lit, especially at night, and your teams can help you put things away in your side tables or in your lockers. And finally, if you're using a walking aid, make sure you've got that walker or cane close by and use it when it's needed. By keeping these steps in mind, you can help reduce your risk of falls as well, protect your independence, and continue your recovery with confidence. This November, take a moment to think about fall safety. It's simple habits like these that can make a difference. I'll hand it over now to Dr. Christy McDonald.
Great. Thanks very much, Deborah. And in ongoing celebration and good work that's happening within LHSC, we'll talk a little bit about kidney cancer. Many have been touched by kidney cancer. Kidney cancer occurs when kidney cells grow uncontrollably. Surgery is an option for some patients, but age, heart or lung conditions, and other health factors may make it risky for many. Chemotherapy and standard radiation often don't work. This exciting early phase trial at LHSCRI is exploring a new treatment for kidney cancer using tiny beads known as theriosphere glass microspheres. These beads are delivered directly into blood vessels surrounding the tumor, allowing highly targeted radiation. This method can deliver up to 10 times the radiation dose of conventional external therapy while minimizing exposure to healthy tissue. This approach offers hope for patients with limited options and represents an innovative leap and an innovative step in kidney cancer treatment. This treatment aims to shrink tumors while preserving healthy kidney tissue surrounding the tumor and helping preserve kidney function. Researchers are monitoring tumor response, disease progression, and overall safety of the treatment. Success could lead to larger trials and a new standard of care. Very exciting for all of those faced with kidney cancer. Switching gears to flu and seasonal illness and viral illness. Ontario Health has provided seasonal priorities for hospitals across the province, and the focus this year is being on proactive to ensure that all hospitals are prepared for the viral season. This year, prevention is key. Vaccinations for flu, COVID-19, and RSV, as well as staying at home if you're unwell, are things we know can help people stay healthy and keep people out of hospital. As we head into the colder months, we are expecting more respiratory illnesses in the community, which means more people needing our care. This makes planning ahead even more important at LHSC. Here, we'll be focusing on patient flow and supporting all areas of care to ensure safe discharge in order to prepare for patients coming through our doors. All of this comes back to one main goal: protecting our capacity, making sure we can provide care to everyone who needs it, even when the hospital is busy. This ultimately keeps our community safe. By staying on top of these priorities and encouraging vaccination and smooth transitions to care, we're helping to keep our hospital running as safely and efficiently as possible. Each of us can play a role in keeping our loved ones and our community healthy. Vaccines are one of the best ways we can protect ourselves and those around us. Influenza and COVID-19 vaccines are now free for everyone 6 months and older, so there's really no reason to wait. For most people over the age of 2, these vaccines are available right at our local pharmacies across London and Middlesex, making it very easy to get protected. The RSV vaccine is also expanding. It's now available for seniors 75 and older, as well as high-risk adults and young children. Getting vaccinated early can make a big difference in preventing serious illness and preventing the need for acute hospital admission and acute care. Another thing that's very convenient is that they can also be safely given together. This helps reduce the number of appointments you need. By getting vaccinated early, we're not just protecting ourselves and our families, we're also helping support the health system, making sure it has the capacity to care for everyone who needs it. So please get vaccinated and stay well this viral season. With that, I'll hand it back to Dr. Adam Ducalo, Integrated Vice President, Medical and Academic Affairs.
Thanks so much, Dr. McDonald. It's a pleasure to be back speaking with this group this afternoon. Well, we know all the amazing things that happen here at London Health Sciences Centre are because of the people that work here. The frontline providers that spend every day, many nights here working for patient care, research, and teaching. Today, I'll be speaking about a group that plays a very important role, but is a little bit less known than other sort of larger groups of providers. That is our clinical fellows. Clinical fellows are fully trained physicians. For example, someone would do a 5-year anesthesia residency program and then come do a year or 2 of extra training in something like cardiac anesthesia for bypass surgery, or pain management, or transplant anesthesia. Another example would be in ENT, or nose and throat. You might do a pediatric ENT fellowship after you've done 5 years of ENT or otolaryngology training. They come to LHSC from far and wide in order to learn, but also to provide patient care and service to our community and our surrounding region. They learn from the teams they work with. They learn from the consultants that are directly in their specialty and others across our great institution. Their presence strengthens our programs and directly benefits the patients that they care for as they bring techniques and innovations from where they have done the first part of their training. So what's the difference between a resident and a fellow? A few months ago, I was here with Dr. Anna Branch speaking about residency training, and we spoke about the road from getting into medical school to finishing medical school and then becoming a resident or a doctor in training who has a medical degree, but isn't allowed to practice on their own. So that residency period is anywhere from 2 to 5 years or 2 to 6 years after you complete medical school. And you, as a resident, require a consultant or independent physician to sign off on the things that you do and directly observe a lot of them. As a fellow, you have an independent license and you could go practice. I used anesthesia as an example. You could go practice anesthesia on your own without supervision, but you've chosen to do a fellowship and it gain additional training. So you have an independent license, but you're doing more specialized training. As part of that, you're usually interested in some form of academic medicine or practicing in a tertiary care academic hospital like London Health Sciences Centre or St. Joseph's Healthcare London. So you're not only providing clinical care, you're actively doing research or quality improvement and you're teaching residents, you're teaching medical students that work with you on a daily basis. I'd like to also highlight that we have both Canadian and international clinical fellows. People come from across Canada to train here in London, and they come across from across the world. This is a huge value add to our environment within the hospitals as well as to our community because they bring their own healthcare experience, different perspectives on what healthcare should look like, and on academics and research. We know that diversity is hugely important in everything that we do, and healthcare is not unique in that. So their impact is great. If you look at a map of where our fellows come from across the globe, you would see that we attract people from as far away as New Zealand and across the entire world, and that means we attract major talent from around the world. We have 75 Canadian clinical fellows currently and 259 international clinical fellows. That means the majority of the fellows come from outside of Canada, which speaks to LHC's strong reputation as a teaching hospital with advanced subspecialty or quaternary care training. The map to me is a very important visual of the impact that your local hospitals in London have on the international healthcare and medical community. So our fellowships are all offered in collaboration with Western University and the Schulich School of Medicine and Dentistry. There are a total of 256 programs. 144 have active fellows currently, and they span 42 academic divisions. This is a huge number of training programs that we're offering that require patients to see, require teachers to teach, require program directors. So a lot of effort by those of us that live and work in London to keep these fellowships going and make them world renowned and attract those folks to come train in London. On the next slide, you'll see all of the different, or some of the different areas or departments that have fellows within them. And you'll note that some departments have a lot of fellows, like medicine has 110 or surgery 74. Others may have 1 or 2, like physiatry or physical medicine and rehabilitation and ophthalmology. It's not about the number of fellows, though. It's about the training that is provided and the impact these fellows have as a fellow and will have in the future. So fellows do improve care. As I said, they bring unique experience, techniques, what they've learned in the first 9 or 10 years of their medical training to London, often from other areas and also from within London, to provide that and drive innovation, research, quality improvement that move care forward at a much faster pace than it would be if they weren't here. I want to close by highlighting one of our, what I would call premier fellowships. And that's not because one of the key physicians involved in is Dr. David Stephen, our interim MAC chair. So we have a fellowship in in neurosurgery specific for epilepsy or seizure disorders. This fellowship only takes one fellow a year, but has tens of applicants, 10, 20, 30 applicants every year that want to come to London to train with Dr. Stephen and his colleagues. And some will stay in Canada and some will go across the world. You see the last 10 or so years of fellows' names from this premier program on the slide in front of you right now. And I want to highlight where these fellows have ended up and what they've done. And I'll start just back in 2020 or during the pandemic. Dr. Bonaventure has started a formal epilepsy surgery program in Quebec City. If you move on to Dr. Ramknar, is working as an epilepsy surgeon in Perth, Australia. Dr. Meha Perez is reestablishing an epilepsy surgery program at the National Institute of Neurology and Neurosurgery in Mexico City. So just the far-reaching hands of these excellent surgeons who trained right here in London. Dr. Al-Harabi completed a second fellowship. So some of us are gluttons for more education and training. So did another fellowship in stereotactic neurosurgery and is now a consultant in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Dr. Prasad returned to their home in Saskatoon and is the first fellowship epilepsy trained surgeon in Saskatchewan. Lastly, our current fellow, Dr. Yashani, has a consultant's position back in the UK and will return there to an epilepsy and neuro-oncology position. In summary, the value to London, to our hospitals, to our community, our patients, our medical school that fellows bring is amazing, and they do so much for us. I now will turn things over to Tanya Testa, our VP Communications and Community Patient and Client Engagement, and Karen Connors, the Director of Patient Experience and Volunteer Services. Over to you, Tanya and Karen.
Thanks so much, Dr. Ducalo. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. We're really excited to be here with you today, mostly because we're excited to share two really exciting updates with all of you around our new patient guides that will help all of you navigate LHSC and our hospitals, as well as some great information about some fashionable updates for our volunteers who we love here at LHSC. Karen Connors, over to you.
Thank you, Tanya. It's a real privilege, everyone, to be able to speak with you today and to sort of share our new digital patient guides. This sort of started in late October. We launched 2 new digital patient guides to replace the printed handbooks that were previously handed out in the hospital. These new guides are a really important step forward in how we share information with patients and families as we increase access to information that they need to help support them in their care journey. So this probably started well over a year ago, and the shift to digital guides was really inspired by feedback from our patients and families, including the patient and family partners who later worked on the project alongside communications and patient experience team members. We also heard in our community survey conducted by our Community Advisory Committee that patient information really needs to be more accessible, easier to find, and up-to-date and accurate. These guides were therefore one of the 29 recommendations resulting from the survey. Physical handbooks can sometimes be somewhat cumbersome and can be difficult to follow. And one of the things that's a real challenge is they often become very quickly outdated, which impacts the reliability of that information. So the other challenge we face was that they are not always as accessible with tools and equipment that people who might need accessible readers, for example, can use them with. And the text and size can't be adjusted to help people in terms of their ability. It also can't be translated as easily. So over the course of several months, patient and family partners shared their experiences and perspectives to really help us to establish what a modern handbook would look like and how we could make it as useful as possible for everyone in our hospitals. We aligned our strategy with new industry standards, usage requirements, and our patient care guidelines. And the digitized patient guides currently live on LHSC's website. We have one for the adult care and also one specific for Children's Hospital at LHSC. These digital guides act as a singular source of truth for all patient and visitor information, and they've been organized to reflect the needs of patients and families. Digitizing the handbook content makes this information much easier to find through search engines and LHSC's website search, Rather than sifting through pages, you are able to find the information that you need, and patients can go directly to the content that is most relevant to them. The other part, as I mentioned earlier, is that they are much easier to make up to date. As policies and procedures change or new services become available, we can quickly add that information to the digital guide rather than waiting for an annual review or for a new print version to be created, so that we no longer will have outdated versions in circulation. They are much more accessible and compatible with assistive technologies such as translation applications and screen readers. And as living resources, they will continue to be updated and optimized to reflect the needs of the populations that we serve. So you might be wondering, well, how do you find these guides? And both guides are easily accessed on the Visiting LHSC page of our website, which is available through the main site menu. They can also be accessed by clicking in visitor information in the Our Hospital section on the website homepage. And to support the delivery of these new guides to patients, we have also provided our teams with some resources. There are posters with QR codes that link the guides that will be posted at all public elevators and in other common spaces such as at patient registration. All of our digital guides, digital and information kiosks will feature the QR codes that patients can access to access the guides. We are also going to be printing out business cards with QR codes to be stocked at all the information desks, where oftentimes our volunteers will be able to help hand them out to visitors, and they will be distributed to clinical units. These business cards can be handed out to patients and families as something that they can take with them to quickly access the guides when they're needed. Now, we also recognize that not everybody prefers or has access to digital tools, and that's why we've also developed printable PDF versions of each of the guides to complement the digital versions. Clinical teams can use these printable versions to print in full or by section any part that patients and families would like if they would prefer a physical copy of the guide. Moving the guides online also allows us to optimize and improve based on the ever-changing needs of the people and the communities that we serve. We will be monitoring the traffic on the website to learn what information patients and families access the most and make timely updates that reflect their needs. And we're also encouraging feedback about the guides through an online form that will allow people to let us know how we can improve them. Already, even since the launch, since October, we've had several people reach out with suggestions, including some of our staff members who've noted certain things, and we've seen the benefit of being able to quickly update the guide. So these guides will be based on feedback from our patients, our families, our communities, and our team members. And that's the true benefit of digitizing this material, is that we can adapt it to provide quickly information that's better suited to the needs of everyone that we take care of. Another very exciting event at LHSC is that for the first time in 17 years, our volunteers have a brand new look. Our new vests are much brighter. They are a much bolder blue and feature the word volunteer very clearly in very large letters across the back, making it easier for our patients and families and visitors to identify volunteers and get the help they needed. The volunteers are readily available, and it's really important that those who are accessing our doors are able to see who they are and quickly get some help. As you can imagine, sometimes coming to LHSC on your first visit can be a bit unnerving, and that feeling lost as you walk in. Being able to see that volunteer uniform is a little bit of a guiding light at times for people, and we really appreciate it. So the new uniforms really make them much more visible. The new uniforms were also selected by our Volunteer Advisory Council, and they address feedback from patients who told us that they wanted the volunteers to be easier to spot across our sites. So the next time that you visit LHSC, please keep an eye out for some of our wonderful volunteers. They are always here ready to make our days much easier and to welcome our patients and families. Thank you for that opportunity. And now I would like to have the honor to pass the presentation over to Shannon Meyer, who's our VP of Children's Hospital, Women's Care, Quality, Risk, and Pharmacy, Amanda Williams, who's Director of the Regional Genetics Program, and Dr. Maha Salah, who's the Section Head of Clinical Genetics. And I'll turn it over to my colleagues for their wonderful presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen. And it's really my delight to pass this to Dr. Sella and Amanda, who have done a phenomenal job in putting together a presentation for you that helps outline key aspects of the genetics program. So over to you, Amanda.
Thank you, Shannon, for that introduction, and thank you, Karen, as well. Dr. Saleh and I are delighted to be here today with you all to share some information about our regional genetics program at London Health Sciences Centre. There are 20 genetic sites in Ontario, and we here at LHSC are one of the largest regional genetic programs in the province. We are a multidisciplinary team of 32, which includes physicians, clinical staff, and support staff. And together we see approximately 4,000 new referrals every year. Now, Dr. Saleh will explain a little more about our genetics program.
Thank you so much, Amanda. I am thrilled and excited to share with everyone what we do. But first, let's talk about what is genetics. I know chromosomes and genes is not everybody's favorite topic. Allow me to explain it. And I think this picture will be very helpful. The human body is made up of millions of cells. If we were to look under the microscope, in every cell, there is the nucleus that carries our DNA and genetic material. Think of that nucleus as a library. This library carries our DNA, which is the fabric that makes us. And the DNA is stacked in chromosomes. Those are like books in a library. We have 23 pairs of books. And inside these books, we have so many sections, our chapters, recipes, and blueprints. We call those genes. There's 25,000 pairs of genes in the human body. It's fascinating. And yes, indeed, making us and our organs is quite complex. If you look at the genes, we have building blocks to represent those unique units inside the genes. And we use letters to present those genetic blocks. This is our genetic alphabet, A, T, G, and C. These letters need to be in a certain order for that gene and that coding recipe to make sense and for it to be expressed in different parts of the body. We need genes for their brain development, eye development, hearing, and so forth. Changes at the level of the building block of the genes, where we have spelling differences, letters that shuffle, or changes at the level of the chromosomes, where we have extra missing pieces of those books, those chromosomes, can impact health. And those are reasons why one may come to genetics. If you see the next slide, we're going to talk about the clinical types and who we see. Watch how we are actually serving a large population, and we're very proud to serve a population of 4.5 million, including children, newborns, adults, seniors that are in the Southwest region. We see individuals in all age groups, and based on the referral that comes in, there are different types of clinics and different providers that you may see. Recognizing it's a big catchment, we do offer different platforms. There's remote clinics that we offer through telephone or video encounters. We also offer in-person appointments, and those happen here at Victoria Hospital. Here are the different subclinics I'll highlight. The prenatal clinic is one where we see individuals that get flagged with ultrasound differences during pregnancy or through prenatal screening. Through that team, you can meet with a genetic counselor who's certified provider, has a master's in genetic counseling, and can review and discuss testing, review family history and implications to health based on the concern that one presents with. Then we have the adult and pediatric genetic clinic. Through that, you can also see a genetic counselor or a physician through that clinic. Here is where we see anyone from the time they're born until old age or seniors. There we see individuals with learning delays, late talking, late walking, birth defects. All that falls under the general genetics. Next, I'll talk about the cardiac genetics. Oh, no, sorry, we'll go back to the slides. I haven't finished. The cardiac genetics and some of the other multi-D clinics. Depending on the system that's impacted, there's kidney clinics, heart clinics, and their genetic counselors, genetic physicians, as well as subspecialists all work together. And you get to meet with everyone under one roof. There's the cancer clinic for the hereditary cancers. And last but not least is the metabolic and newborn screening. This is where we see individuals that have rare conditions that impacts the body's ability to break down food to generate energy. There you meet a physician, a genetic counselor, a dietitian, a metabolic nurse, and there's also social work. Now we can go to the next slide. So who do we see? I briefly highlighted the different clinic types, but for those, because we're a consulting service, we do require a referral. It doesn't have to just be a primary provider or family doctor. It can be a walk-in clinic, a subspecialist that you're seeing. Once a referral comes through, you get to see one of those different clinic subtypes. These are common referrals that we get. Birth defects, developmental delays, late talking, late walking, severe autism, family history suggesting that something genetic may be happening in the family, early onset or atypical cancers. We'll be talking a little bit more about those later. Positive screens, prenatal screening or newborn screening. These are screenings that happen during pregnancy or immediately when a baby is born in Ontario, the first 24 hours. And of course, if there's a known genetic diagnosis for the individual or in the family. Now we have some frequently asked questions, and I'll wait for Amanda to ask some of these questions.
Yes, thanks, Maha. As genetics is a growing field, people have a lot of questions about it. So here are some of those questions, which we hope that you will find helpful. Dr. Saleh, why would someone have a genetic test?
Absolutely. Having a genetic diagnosis can guide families and individuals. Often a person wants to understand what's been happening to themselves or what's happening in their family history. And the moment they have a diagnosis, we call it the eureka moment. Everything starts to make sense. They now understand what was going on. They now want to know what else to expect. What additional screening do they need? Is there treatment? Is there therapies? Are there things that they need to avoid? Also, who may be at chance or risk of having this? Their siblings? Could it be inherited from a parent? What is the possibility of them passing on that change to future generation? Is it a 50% possibility? Is it a 25% possibility? Having a genetic diagnosis can be absolutely empowering, and it also allows you to connect with different individuals that may have the same diagnosis and create a support group as well.
Thank you. Sometimes we hear people say that cancer runs in the family. So for example, if my aunt has breast cancer, does that mean that I'm more likely to have it too?
I'm so glad you asked this question, Amanda. It's one of the most common. And I want to highlight this pie chart. Truly, 80% of cancers out there are by chance. They're not genetic in nature. It's only 10% that come to our attention and have a known genetic cause. About 20%, there is a family pattern where it runs in the family, but there's no known genetic cause. Truly, the ones we see are the 10%. And the question is, when do I suspect we're in that 10% category? These are some of the important things to keep in mind. Early diagnosis of cancer under the age of 50. We're still on that same previous slide. Someone that has a cluster of certain types of cancer. If there's a family history of breast cancer, family history of colon cancer, where there's a pattern affecting multiple generations, those are things that make you think of it being hereditary. Multiple cancers in one person. If they develop a breast and then later they develop a uterus and then they have a thyroid cancer, that makes you think of something genetic going on. Also, if you look of the unexpected presentation, for example, male with breast cancer, this is not a common type of cancer. It makes you think of that genetic cause.
Thank you. So how do I get a genetic test and how is it done?
So once a referral comes in, you get to meet with one of our providers. We always consent for genetic testing and discuss pros and cons of testing. And this is a blood work that happens. Testing is OHIP funded. And the different labs that we work with are all clinically accredited labs. We have labs within Canada, in Ontario, outside of Ontario, as well as outside of Canada. Once we get the testing done, we discuss the results that they return, and we accordingly offer follow-up and discuss testing for other members.
Thank you. So a term that people may have heard of is direct-to-consumer test. Can you share with us a little bit more about that, please?
Yes, this is a trend. And for the TikTokers and people that use social media, you'll probably hear something like, use this test, use that, know about your background, know what you like, what works for you, and your health risks. There's so many there. Some do blood, some do saliva. None of those are OHIP funded. But one needs to be very aware of the nature of that testing. How are they looking at this DNA? Are they looking for unique hotspots or what we call common mutations? Are they checking the building blocks of the genes? Are they doing what we call sequencing, checking all these letters? And then how are they going to share these results? Is there a plan to have a provider, a genetic counselor, or someone through their team connect with you? Are you going to get it via email and then have to figure out who else to talk to? Also, the technology, as I said, varies. So if you know that there's a family history of a known gene mutation within your family, but that's not tested through that technology, it can create confusion and cause false reassurance. Last but not least, very important to recognize and know what are they going to do with that DNA. It is your information, and these companies may not save it in a way that's actually safe for you.
Thank you. So where would someone find information about common genetic concerns?
Absolutely. The genetics information online can be overwhelming. These are some very good resources. The Genetic Education Canada is through the ministry. That one tells you if something is a genetic concern or not. It's designed for information for healthcare providers as well as the public. Then there's the Medline Plus Genetics. It gives a general overview about health concerns and whether there may be a genetic cause to it. Last but not least, we have this QR code. If you have specific question about our regional program and what we offer, feel free to scan that and have a look.
Oh, thanks so much, Dr. Saleh, for sharing that information with us and answering some of the questions that we often hear. So next, I'd like to hand it over to Chantal Antone, who is the Indigenous Health Lead. Thank you.
Just check to see if Chantal is there.
Sorry about that, Robert, I was speaking. I thought my screen was on and my mic was on. Sorry about that. Okay, so we'll get started. I'm honored to be with you today. My name is Chantal Antone, and I'm the Indigenous Health Lead here at LHSC. And so I'm honored to be with you today to share and introduce the Indigenous Healing and Cultural Practices Policy. So at LHSC, we're committed to providing culturally safe care for First Nations, Inuit, Métis, and urban Indigenous patients. And one key part of this commitment is recognizing and supporting traditional healing practices as an integral part of the wellness and care journey that our patients are on here at LHSC. So today I'll introduce the policy and I'll explain why it matters. And I'll share how staff, patients, families can access these practices. We'll also talk a little bit about the legislation and the reconciliation context that guides this work. So listening and responding to the community. So through community engagement over the past couple of years, it became clear that access to traditional healing practices is a vital part of wellness for many Indigenous patients. And this policy really reflects what we heard from the community, and it provides guidance for care teams on how to make these practices available. This policy was co-created with our local Indigenous elders, knowledge keepers, leaders, and community partners. And from the beginning, it was essential that the voices of the community from our patients and families would shape this work. Through this collaboration, we learned how vital access to traditional healing practice is for holistic wellness. And holistic care goes beyond the physical treatment, and it includes the spiritual, the emotional, and the cultural well-being. And this policy ensures that Indigenous patients and families can experience care that respects these dimensions, supports their healing, and strengthens trust in the healthcare system. Some key elements of the policy. We'll speak to the clear guidance for staff to support Indigenous healing practices safely and respectfully. And what the policy covers is it relates to some smudging and to some other traditional ceremonies. These can be performed in patient rooms, in designated spaces and healing spaces, or outdoors, depending on safety requirements. We'll also speak to in the policy the traditional medicines that staff can collaborate with knowledge keepers to integrate the medicines into their care journey as requested. Our Visiting Elders program, which runs weekly, also provides spiritual balance, spiritual guidance, spiritual support, and connection for patients and families. We also speak a little bit in the policy around the healing spaces, and these designated spaces within the hospital allow ceremonies and healing practices to occur safely and respectfully. And how do we integrate all of this work together? This ensures that the cultural practices are woven into the patient care journey. I'll share a short example here that if a patient requests for a smudging ceremony in their room, the staff will coordinate with our Indigenous health team, who may include some navigators, to ensure that the safety protocols are followed and support the patient and the family through the ceremony. The healing practices, how will that improve care? Well, we're really looking to cultural safety as central. Sorry, I got some notifications coming up here. Cultural safety is central to quality care. Access to healing practices allows Indigenous patients to feel seen, heard, and respected. It strengthens trust and engagement in care, which contributes to better health outcomes. These practices support holistic wellness, spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical, and demonstrate LHSC's commitment to reconciliation and culturally safe care. By supporting these practices, we honor Indigenous culture and create hospital environments where patients and families feel empowered in their care journey. How are we staying accountable? The policy is guided not only by best practices, but also by legislation and national reconciliation commitments. For example, the Smoke Free Ontario Act recognizes Indigenous rights to use tobacco in ceremony. The United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, which is a international practice for Indigenous people to affirm Indigenous people's rights in access to traditional practices. And the Canadian Constitution of 1982 protects the inherent rights of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. Lastly, but not least, the Truth and Reconciliation Calls to Action number 18 specifically speaks to healthcare organizations like hospitals and like LHSC to recognize and support Aboriginal healing practices. By aligning with these legal and ethical frameworks, LHSC ensures that patients' rights are respected while providing culturally safe care. So how do we make the policy work in practice? Accessing Indigenous healing practices is straightforward, and it can be supported in every step of the way. Patients and families can request access to ceremonies and smudging and traditional medicines. The staff will work together with our Indigenous health team to ensure safety and guidance throughout the process. The Indigenous health team is available for consultation, for education, and support for care teams as well. Another example that I will share is if a patient requests a smudging ceremony, the staff coordinate with the Indigenous health team. They confirm the space is safe. They'll notify other patients if requested or if needed. They will guide the ceremony in collaboration with our elders or our knowledge keepers. And this, what this really does is it ensures that the practice is safe, that it's respectful, and it's meaningful for everyone involved. Lastly, continuing this journey, I encourage everyone today here to take a few moments to review the policy and engage in dialogue with your care teams. This is a shared responsibility for all members of Team LHSC. By collaborating, learning, and actively supporting these practices, we are working to create a healthcare environment where Indigenous patients feel empowered, respected, and supported in their healing journey. So I thank you for this time today, and I thank you for your attention and supporting this important work. And with that, I will hand it over to you, David. Thank you.
Thanks again, Chantel. Thank you for sharing that information on clearly a vital policy at LHSC. So before we close today, I want to remind everyone that we have a web form available for you to submit questions to be answered in these meetings. You can find a link in the description section on the YouTube and on the community update meetings page of our website. Also, we have a QR code up on the screen for you to scan. It'll take you to a form that you can submit your question. So since our October community update meeting, we've received a handful of questions. I'd like to take a few minutes to answer. One question asked, when is the One Chart patient portal? When's it going to go live for patients to access their medical information digitally? So patients will be able to start enrolling in My Care portal beginning in March of 2026, so only a few months away. So this new tool will make it easier for patients to access their health information and test results, and we'll make sure we share more information on this in the upcoming months. The other question we received was what are we doing to improve wait times for coronary and cardiac CT scans, and whether these scans are available in private clinics. So we have seen increasing referrals for these scans over the past few years and have also increased our resources. So between 2022 and 2024, we increased access by over 52%. However, demand is continuing to increase, so we're continuously assessing our needs as a hospital, and we'll continue to work with the Ministry of Health to meet the needs of the patients. In the terms of private clinics, they may not be able to offer cardiac CT access due to highly specialized nature of this imaging. So I truly appreciate your engagement and encouragement, and you folks continuing to participate in these meetings, being there for us, hearing from us, and sharing your insights as well. So we're going to continue to make sure that we'll be addressing these topics going forward. So again, I want to thank everybody for attending today's community update meeting, and we will see you a month from now. So take care.